Hello, I'm Dr. Jason Lemieux from Physiomed, and with us we have Steve Delaney from Pinnacle Wellness. We're going to demonstrate some proper and improper lifting techniques for work if we're trying to avoid low back injury. So Steve's going to attempt to pick up this dumbbell off this low step. So the first thing we're going to look at is the cardinal sin when we're looking at picking something up in terms of back pain is allowing your back to round. So as we see Steve bend forward, he's actually bending from his spine, allowing his back to come off the stick. What we're going to want to create, so that would be bad, so what we want to create is more of a hinge from our hips. So as Steve's bending forward, his hips are doing the movement, meaning his spine is staying relatively neutral. Very good. So now we'll get rid of the stick. Good, and we'll kind of demonstrate just a proper hip hinge. So Steve's going to get as close to that weight as he can. Let's get a little closer to that weight, Steve. Stand right over top of it. Hinge from the hips. We're going to use our glutes. So really the muscles of his butt are what's going to lift. So lots of people have heard the old saying, lift with your legs, not with your back. A better saying would be lift with your hips. So we keep our back nice and neutral. It forward bends, but it stays straight. And then we squeeze from our hips, keeping our abdominals tight. If we pick items up that way, we will never have any low back pain. Very good. So the other thing we want to pay attention to is the distance from which we actually pick up the item. So I alluded to Steve, I instructed Steve to get closer to the last implement. So same thing, if Steve is going to pick up this light medicine ball off that stand, if he's got to reach for that ball, if it's far away from the center of his body, that's going to put a tremendous amount of stress on his shoulder and his lower back. When an item is really light, people don't really think about that and they'll reach out for it, whether they're in the back of their car or at work. So we want to get as close as we can to that implement. It decreases the distance from our center of gravity and from the center of our joint. So keeping our core tight and our shoulders back, we can pick that up nice and easy again. Even if the implement's light, we don't want to have to reach out further forward than we want. So if our workspace doesn't allow us to get closer to the implement, we got to either get some assistance, find some way around that, but repetitively lifting things that are far, far away from our body is just going to put too much rotary stress on our body and create lots of shoulder and low back issues. So the two things we want to look at, nice neutral spine hinging from our hips and nice and close to the center of the gravity of what we're picking up. Follow those two key points and you won't have any injuries when you're at work.